C-Bus.
Hi, this is Gary from lawnaeration.com. Wanted to do a quick video. You can look at some of our other videos for more detailed descriptions of what I'm going to tell you right now. But grass seed chopping and choosing the right grass seed can really be a daunting task sometimes, because you don't know exactly what you want to buy and you don't want to screw up your yard. So let me go over a couple facts of these grass seeds really quickly that'll help you decide on maybe which grass seed to buy. First of all, if you're really not sure what type of grass seed you have, what you should do to improve or plant more grass seed, call a professional like us. We'll come out and we'll suggest some things. We like to teach our customers and educate them, as well as assist them in repairing the lawn. So let's start with the perennial rye. And perennial rye is a good all-purpose grass seed that's sort of your common denominator. It blends well with almost every other type of grass seed because it grows quickly, has a fast establishment, is a nice medium green color, and has a thin blade. So if you put it in with a Kentucky Bluegrass, it'll help aid your fast establishment of the Kentucky Bluegrass. If you put it in with a turf-type tall fescue, it'll soften the lawn up some and not make it such of a coarse texture. Now let's look at a blue rye grass seed. Generally, I don't seed with 100% bluegrass, and the reason for that is because bluegrass takes a long time to germinate. It makes a great looking lawn, but if you have to wait 20 or 30 days to get your lawn in, there's a lot bigger chance that you're going to have some weeds or some of your grass seeds going to disappear or die out. So generally, when I'm doing a new establishment, I will use a 50-50 grass seed. Many times when we're doing just an overseeding, I'll use something that's a little bit higher with the perennial rye content, like a 70% rye over 30% bluegrass. That's because it helps heal those spots closed much quicker if you have thin or dead spots in the lawn. So that brings me now to our turf-type tall fescue. Turf-type tall fescue grass seed is great in the sense that it's more heat tolerant and drought resistant than Kentucky Bluegrass, or even so than the perennial rye, even though the perennial rye does well in the sun too. The turf-type tall fescue is a tougher grass, so if you have a lot of traffic on your lawn, it's a really good choice. Also, if you don't have an irrigation system, it gets hot a lot, or if you're on a slope or somewhere that gets dry, like under trees, turf-type tall fescue will perform better than what a Kentucky Bluegrass or a rye blend would do. Lastly, we have a shade seed. Now, shade seed's exactly what it sounds like. Use it in the shade, don't use it anywhere else. Shade seed's a little different. It won't survive very well in the sun. So if you're going to buy a grass seed that has shade or for the shade, buy a shade blend. Many times, however, the turf-type tall fescue will perform almost just as well as the shade blend does. And the reason for that is because in shady situations, often you'll have also drought conditions because you'll be under trees. So if you don't have enough water to keep the shade seed, which is much more delicate, healthy, then your grass is going to die. As soon as you get drought and heat, the shade grass is going to die out pretty easily. And that's why the tall fescue, being more drought and heat tolerant, would do better sometimes in the shade than the shade seed. What I always encourage is that you do not buy a sun and shade mix, because either way, you put the shade in the sun, you're wasting the shade seed. If you put the sun seed in the shade, you're wasting the sun seed. So either way, you're wasting half of your money when you buy grass seed. So hopefully with that brief explanation, it'll help you decide on what type of grass seed you want. A couple notes is that the perennial rye is your common denominator. It will be in many of the blends that you find. I usually don't plant a 100% grass species in a lawn. I like to have the blend because of different factors. The heat and drought tolerance resistance. Also things like different grasses have different resistances to funguses and different types of insects and bugs. So I usually like to plant a little bit of a blend in a lawn. So one thing with blends to remember is that if you're going to plant a blend, which I encourage in your lawn, make sure that it's a blend of either Kentucky Bluegrass and Perennial Rye, or if you're going with the tall fescue variety, make sure that tall fescue is your dominant grass in your lawn. You do not want a lawn that has 70% Kentucky Bluegrass and 30% fescue, because you'll have a weird texture and a clumpy appearance. So anytime you blend a Kentucky Bluegrass and a turf type tall fescue, make sure that your turf type tall fescue is your dominant grass species, and then you allow your Kentucky Bluegrass and your Perennial Rye to be your filler grasses to make a more consistent texture. Now, keep watching my videos and I'll tell you more detail about each one of these grasses. I'm also doing a quick video on what to look for when you go shopping. So see my other videos now that I explained which grass fits what circumstance the best. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.